I want to share a story about my cats that shows how they went from being neglected to finding happiness in their forever home. I hope it inspires people to know that it's possible to help a scared cat become a happy and loving companion again. Here's my story. My story is about 4 special cats: Fluffy the male cat, aged 11, Nikki and Lady, both female cats, aged 18, and little Yuki, a female kitten, aged 1. I've had Fluffy for almost 12 years, since I was 7 years old. Now I'm 18. Fluffy is a very loving cat. He became even more affectionate after we lost Mazza and Minka, who were like parents to him when we first adopted him. When Minka passed away last year, we adopted Yuki because Fluffy couldn't be alone due to his fear of abandonment. Yuki was only 12 weeks old and very sick when we got her. Her previous owner had neglected her. But with Fluffy's help, my mom's care, and the vet's treatment, Yuki grew into a healthy, almost 2-year-old cat. She might be a bit smaller than usual, but we love her just the same. Then, our neighbors called us about 2 very old cats that needed a new home. Their owner was moving into a nursing home, and we knew her reputation. She was neglectful and cruel to her pets. We knew we had to act fast. My mom and I grabbed our cat carriers and headed across the street to rescue the cats. The apartment was in a terrible state, but we didn't hesitate. We put on gloves and masks to protect ourselves and carefully retrieved the cats, placing them in the carriers. I remember Nikki mowing pitifully all the way to our house. Once inside, we released them from the carriers, letting them explore their new surroundings at their own pace. At first, we kept them separated from our other cats, but eventually, we let them meet on their own terms. It's been a few months now, and all 4 cats are thriving. They're healthy, well-fed, and most importantly, loved and cherished. Every time I walk into the room, they shower me with affection, eager for cuddles and attention. It's a feeling I never tire of. Seeing my cats happy and content fills my heart with joy. I'm grateful to have them in my life, and I know they feel the same about me. That's the story of my 4 beloved cats. All 4 were rescues, and they deserved a better life. I'm grateful to have been able to give them a loving home where they receive all the care, love, and attention they need. They've brought so much joy and happiness into my life, and I'm thankful for every moment we share together. Thank you. Story 2. About 2 to 3 years ago, I was 11 years old and spending time with my younger cousin. Sarah, I'm using her nickname to protect her privacy. We were playing games together, and she had this old gaming console that was rarely used. It was really cool because it had all the classic games like the original Super Mario Bros. That I loved playing. We hooked up the console to her old TV, which looked really outdated. We played a 2-player game together, but I don't recall what it was called. I just remember getting frustrated because it was so challenging. We were in her huge living room, which took up a big part of the house. The room was so big that it felt like it went on forever. The house had 3 floors: the ground floor, the floor above, and an attic. Our parents went out for something, but it was a while ago, so I don't remember the details. The main entrance of the house had a small room where we kept our coats and other stuff. Sarah and I were sitting in a part of the living room that was blocked by the chimney, so we couldn't see the entrance at all. We were waiting for some other family members to arrive, and our parents had left the gate open so they could come in without having to wait. Someone entered the house, and the door creaked softly. We heard the sound of winter boots walking through the small room and into the living room. Sarah and I looked at each other, thinking it was our family members arriving. My cousin called out, "Hey, Uncle," but the footsteps stopped, and there was complete silence. She leaned forward, trying to see into the other part of the living room, and then she screamed. I looked at Sarah's face, and she was still screaming, but it wasn't just a scream. It was like she was trying to tell me something, but the words weren't coming out. Then I heard the footsteps running towards the room, and suddenly they were gone. After Sarah finally stopped crying and calmed down, she described what she saw: an old woman with dirty clothes, muddy boots that left footprints behind the only sign that someone had been there, and gray, ugly hair. When our parents got home just a minute or so later, we called the police. I never saw that woman again, and to this day, we still don't know who she was or what she was doing in our house. The footprints she left behind were small, about size 37 in European shoes, which was weird because it was the same size as the shoes Sarah and I wore. It was like some tiny, mysterious grandma had snuck into our house and then ran away. It was a really strange and spooky experience, but I'm just glad it didn't happen again. Story 3. I have an older sister now, but I used to be my mom's only kid. My mom dated my stepdad for a long time, 7 years. They got married about 2 years ago. My stepdad has 3 daughters from before, and they're all older than me. Recently, my parents invited my boyfriend Kyler over for dinner so they could get to know him better. I've been dating Kyler for a few months now. 2 of my sisters were visiting at the time, so Kyler met them too. I drove to Kyler's place to pick him up because his car was broken down, and then I drove us both back to my house. My sister Amy also came along for the ride into town. We live on a farm outside of town because she was meeting up with her boyfriend at a hotel. On the drive, the 3 of us were chatting, and I mentioned how Amy is the youngest of 3 sisters and Kyler is the oldest of 3 siblings. That got them talking about their brothers and sisters. Kyler shared that his younger brother, who is 2 years younger than him, is really curious and nosy. Since I'm Kyler's first serious girlfriend, his brother was asking a lot of personal questions about our relationship, but Kyler didn't want to answer them and just said that's none of your business. Kyler's brother had also asked him if we had taken our relationship to the next level, and Amy quickly jumped in to defend me. I didn't catch exactly what she said, but it was something like, why don't you ask him if he's ever learned to keep his mouth shut? We all had a good laugh about it and continued driving until I dropped off Amy and Kyler, then headed home. I wanted to share this story because I never had a sibling-like relationship before, but my stepdad's daughters have accepted me as one of their own. They treat me like a full-blood sister. Amy's defensiveness towards me, she apologized and said I'm just an overprotective older sister. My bad made me feel so happy and loved. It warms my heart to share stories about my sisters and our experiences together. This whole situation reminds me that family isn't just about blood ties, but about the people you choose to be a part of your life.